Hey guys, on this episode, we're going to talk about the early days in our company where we had people fill out Google Forms and the manual process that we put people through, networking, wasting 5 hours of our precious time sitting down with people. We talk about all the processes and procedures that we didn't have in place and the exact proven system that we have in place now so that we can attract, qualify, and convert more leads. This is going to help you figure out exactly how to only sit down with people who are qualified so you do not waste any more time. Can't wait for you to listen.
This is the Marketing Natives, providing actionable ways to grow, improve, and succeed in your business. And now, your hosts, Christian and Aaron.
I honestly think this is like one of my biggest pet peeves now is wasting the time. I think early on we were okay with, not necessarily wasting time, but like getting experience. Maybe that's what it was. We were getting experience.
That was the excuse.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone should do that.
No, they shouldn't. And then you can still learn from people who are qualified because you'll know how to answer the questions or combat them. It is very frustrating. You just don't know what you don't know, which hopefully if you're watching this, you are a local business owner and you are trying to only spend time with qualified leads because we went through that where we sat down with a lot of unqualified people, whether it was in person, whether it was a phone call. And actually the worst one ever, I'll tell a quick story of I was meeting with a lady at Bigby Coffee, RIP. They went out of business. But I was meeting at Bigby Coffee and it was like one of the first times I had a one-on-one. So I'm like, I didn't know how to end it. And this person just kept talking. I don't know if you remember or not, but it was 5 hours. It was the absolute biggest waste of time ever. Like, I don't even remember what we talked about. She was not qualified. It was supposed to be like an hour one-on-one just to kind of get to know each other. She's very well known in the area. But we sat there for 5 hours and I like kept trying to leave and like my legs started to hurt because, if you sit for too long, like, all right, well, I'm going to get up and like there's all these cues. And I just was so early on, I didn't want to make her upset. So I was just like, okay, I'll sit there. So like, if this is you, if you are like wasting so much time in your business talking to unqualified leads, this is going to be a great podcast for you. But I just don't want anybody to ever do that. One, your hips are going to hurt, but it's just, I don't know.
5 hours?
It was 5 hours.
Wow.
I
feel like I remember this, but I don't remember it at all.
Oh, it's
because this was probably the first year I started, right?
Yeah, within the first, I would say 6 to 9 months of the business. It was very early on, and it was, man, like I don't know, like I shouldn't have had that one-on-one. I should have had the one-on-one, yes, because we believe you should definitely build relationships and business that way, but you shouldn't.
Not 5 hours.
No, and it's like you're not talking about business at that point.
Right.
It's not anything mutually beneficial. And that person wasn't qualified. That's the thing is I couldn't necessarily help her at the time. She couldn't help me. Doesn't mean there couldn't be something in the future, but we didn't need 5 hours to figure that out.
Right.
We also said yes to, I guess, to kind of give the lay of the land here, maybe some things that you guys have done before and things that we did and then while we fixed it. But we also used to take phone calls from everybody. Used to sit down and talk with people about websites and it's like, oh, what's your budget? And they were like $500. Nothing against people who build $500 websites, but it just wasn't our model. It was just it was very frustrating. We did that for probably 2 years, just constantly sitting down with people because we didn't have a good message, I guess, or we were the new guys are like, oh, those are the people that help people with marketing and website design. And so people just sent us those people our way and we didn't have any checks and balances in place.
Right. I think our notion was that, we needed to sort of get our feet wet and meet with everyone. And obviously we were hungry to do something, right?
Yeah, we needed money.
Yeah, we needed people coming in and leads. So I think that's how the mentality that we had was like anyone and everyone is our ideal client, right? We didn't really have anything in place that said, they have to have this certain criteria in order to become a client. It was just anyone who was
a local business
that sat with us and talked to us like, all right, bring them in. Like, we'll do business with you. And we always, even if it wasn't the right fit, and we knew it wasn't the right fit, we would still
Find a way to take
find
it
a
on.
way to, yeah.
I'm sure that's a frustration for you guys too, is like, you know, this is not going to be good, but you want the business. So you'll say yes. And you're like, this is going to be a headache. It's like a $10,000 project and I'm willing to do it for $3,000 and it's going to cause more stress, but they are going to pay me $3,000. Like, so we end up paying yes or saying yes to something. And it's, I don't know. Hopefully this is catching you at the right time so you don't ever have to do that. But that's just some of the frustrations for me. Like, and also we did it in networking too. Like, we would always add value to people, which people loved. And our strategy for networking is kind of different. And you guys should check out our video on like why you should stop doing 30-second elevator pitches, but as a different video. But my point is, like, in those meetings, we would used to give value. And when we gave value, we got a lot more people to talk to us afterwards. But because we weren't specific about who we were serving and who that advice would be best for, there was 5 or 6 people who came up to you and you may not have been able to talk to. I know we wouldn't have been able to talk to everybody. Some people are like, I didn't have enough time, and it was like the perfect client. And then you end up talking to the same person that you saw last week who isn't going to do business with you, but they're like, I just had a question. Can I, now a phrase that I hate is, can I pick your brain? And I'm like, no. One, that's such a weird phrase anyway, right? Can I pick your brain?
No, not for me. I don't know.
Okay. So me, it's just like, all right, let me just take a piece of your brain. Like, I don't know. It's just,
Like, I want your knowledge,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah. Or your opinion on something.
so that's another word that they could use instead of pick your brain. It's like, can I steal your knowledge? So when you say it like that, it's like, can I steal your time?
Right. Yeah.
So I didn't really care for that, but I cared for it then, but I was like, this is great. So many people are interested, but really they're the wrong people.
Yeah. Or like, I feel like also, like you're saying, because of the messaging and because we didn't have the correct sort of like audience in place, right, of who we're talking to and who's this ideal client, also fell under like, I don't know, giving like a tip or something on a website and then getting people and like, do you also do an app or like phone apps? And like, no, like, did you not hear what I said? Like, it just makes me now looking back, like, we weren't very clear on the messaging and who we're wanting to target. Because we got a lot of people coming in and it was just random stuff most of the time,
Right.
Or things that we didn't really talk about, but it was, I guess, related in their
They're
minds.
like, you're young and
Computers.
Yeah.
It's like
people asking us about IT and it's like, no, like that just sounds like a headache to me. We are not putting together your VPN or fixing your email. Like those just sound like nightmares to me. A waste. It all kind of goes back to the wasting of time. So it was cool for us to have all these leads coming in, but if you filtered it through, we wasted our time on the 70% who weren't qualified and probably didn't give as much love or much attention to the 30% who were qualified, when we could have served less people and did a better job and wasted less time and served them better.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. So I think it was probably about a year ago. I mean, we started to make the switch. I think our transition was like, okay, cool. We're going to get these people to fill out this form because we're going to get them to answer questions about their project. So we don't waste time in the very beginning. We'll send them an email, they fill out the form, and then we talk to them. So we made it a little bit better. And then
I remember doing that.
we tweaked that and we thought that was the thing, was like, we're just not asking the right questions, or let's get more clarification to make it go faster. And so we changed that and then changed it again. And I think we were on multiple iterations of like Google Forms to have people submit, which was still manual. Like we were still, all right, I'm going to send you this email. You fill out this form. Let me know when you filled it out. Or hopefully if Google notifications worked, get a notification, review it, then schedule the meeting with somebody. And it's like, all right, there's got to be a better way.
Even the scheduling of the meeting was very manual. Like we didn't have Calendly or anything like that. It was a lot of back and forth on like, I have this and this open.
Nope, that didn't work. What about this? And then a week goes by and they're like, what were we meeting about again? Like, I forgot. So that was like part of it. And then finally, I would say it's been about a year now, a little bit over a year. We bought a program that kind of helped us see the blind spot in the business. And that was like our systems and processes. And well, I think even step back further than that, it was more than like maybe a year and a half ago where like, we got to get our processes in place better because we bought, I think very early on in the company, we had the vision of like, we want to have everything systematized. So we did that. But then we didn't have a CRM or a project management tool. So we had them and we kind of knew what was going on for our process. And then we hired somebody to do it digitally. And that kind of went like 75% of the way. And then like 3 or 4 months later, we're like, okay, we still have a blind spot here. There's nothing. And then we finally bought a program that's like, oh no, this is the way you should be handling like your leads and qualifying people and then sitting down with them.
Which, as a tangent, I think from all that experience, maybe it's just the way that we work, but I think we needed that sort of, we watch a video, we make a change, we watch a video, we make a change. Because before that, we tried, like you said, just outsourcing it almost completely. And it was okay, right? It gave us like these are the steps and everything. But obviously that was from what we had thought about, right? There was no other input from anyone else. So I think what really helped us is, that we had the knowledge of like, okay, these are our ideas on the steps. But then when you grab a system and you put it in place, then you see like, oh, my steps are actually maybe a little bit crooked here, and I need to add this step right here. And that's where you actually fill in the holes and those blind spots like you're talking about. So I don't know if it works for everyone like that.
I would say for any like a service-based, like those watching like a service-based business who schedules appointments with people. Like for us, we want them to submit a form and then have a meeting with us. So if you're in that, it doesn't work for like a product. Like if you're selling a t-shirt, it doesn't work. Or like if you want people to go to your like retail location, that probably doesn't work. But if you're like a service-based company, I think that process is pretty much the same. Like getting those people into it that way, I guess.
Right. So I would say definitely having that system, and then you kind of fill in the gaps of like, okay, this is what we're doing, and this is where these blind spots could be. And obviously, like this course gives you also some examples on tools and things that you can use, right, to make it better.
Right, big lifesaver for us was like ActiveCampaign, which we were looking at. What was it, SharpSpring before?
Yeah,
I think SharpSpring was like a semi, and we just needed a nice like SUV. Like it just offered so much that it was just kind of overwhelming, I think. And it was like kind of unheard of, I guess.
Yeah, and it still kind of is. But yeah, it's like with any other the bigger like HubSpot and Salesforce. It's like if you're a smaller business or you're just starting out, it's just very daunting. And I think you mentioned that earlier. It's like when you're starting out, you have some sort of knowledge on this process, but because you're not big enough, you might not need, like I said, a CRM or like you don't need all these tools right away because you're just not big enough. So you don't feel like you don't need those tools, right? And they're part of the process. So I don't know, maybe every business goes through that transitional process of I'm doing everything very organically and by hand. And when you get to this point of, okay, there's more that I can handle. I think the thing is knowing when that transition is, because I don't think there's anything bad if you're starting out. I
think it's like to get to $200,000 a year, you could be completely fine without a CRM, without our first year in business, we didn't do 200,000, but we did a significant amount of money and we didn't have a CRM. We had like a whiteboard. Yeah. So I think you could get to 200,000, but like to go to that next level, you've got to have something, because then you got to start hiring a team. Even if they're just contractors, you got to start having people help you, because it's going to be very hard to like scale. So maybe it's just kind of like a dollar amount. Once you get there, you're like, okay, I've made enough money, but I either got to work more or I got to put a process or like system in place to make it work.
Yeah. I would say that like, even if you're small starting out, still write everything down that you're doing. And from the get-go, literally just put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is my process, and just sentences, whatever. It doesn't have to be fancy or anything, but it's going to help you in the long run. And it's going to help you when that transitional period hits where you're like, oh crap, I need to put some systems in place, a legit process, something that's actually written down. I need to, get the right tools to handle, all this stuff.
Right. Well, and I think something that wasn't around for us from the very beginning, if we would have done it, it's just like, oh, what are we using? And we could have used something like Loom. We're giving a lot of tool shout outs here, but it's free. And just like screen record. And like that could be your process. Like, this is how I run an ad. Well, let me talk and then record the screen. And then here's a link. Like, it's just so easy. So the Loom would have been nice too. But I think the point of getting back to this, like our process and like what we went through and like how to never waste your time again, which is what we do not want to do. Especially now, like this afternoon, I think I was telling Christian earlier, like I've had like 7 meetings. Most of those meetings were with clients or with potential clients. And the good thing is that they were all qualified people or already existing clients. So I didn't waste any time. I didn't have any time to waste today. But what we put into place was, like, even if we get a referral or anything like that, we have them go to a link and have them schedule a time on our calendar. Thank you, Calendly. And then it takes them to another page that has them fill out, like we have like 10 or 12 questions on there on average between a website or marketing. They're both about 10 to 12 questions that qualifies them. And then they have to fill that out. And then it takes them to like a thank you page telling them like, all right, this is what you need to prepare for. This is, when we're going to have our meeting. This is everything. So it kind of like recaps it. So it's like, if they don't want to take the initiative to at least go schedule it, if they don't take the initiative to fill out the form, and then they don't take the initiative to watch the video, you at least know that, okay, great, they're not qualified. But then they fill it out, and it's like, great, we got a qualified person, and it's awesome because I pull up my email, and it's like, new person for the Leads Accelerator program. That's awesome. But what's even better is when you fill out those forms, I think something we were missing was like other qualifications. Like, okay, do they have a team, or are they growing, or are they ready to invest in their business? Because one of our questions are like, are you ready to financially invest in your business? And if they say no, we should probably email them, not get on the phone. And then it's like monthly revenue, which we know what our average client monthly revenue should be. And it's like, if they don't hit those 2 boxes, we don't sit down with them. It doesn't mean we don't like take care of them or send them an email or let them know that, hey, this isn't a good fit and here's some other resources. It just means that we shouldn't have a 45-minute call. Like, don't waste any more time like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think you said 2 very important things. Like, one is the qualifiers, right? So it's not just having questions about the project or specifics. It's, having questions that your ideal client will be like, right? So like you said, if it's someone who's willing to spend the money to make the money, and okay, maybe that's the question that you need to ask, right? And just put these questions in your questionnaire, your form, your intake form that basically will spell out your ideal client. Right. And I think beyond the qualifiers, you also mentioned the sort of checkpoints, right? Right. So I think having, like you said, you have the form, or maybe you have the scheduling, right, first. So they're like, okay, I'm scheduled, so now I'm sort of obligated to this next step, right? To actually fill out the form. And I think those checkpoints is more of a mental game, or mental trick.
It's like a little hurdle you gotta get over.
And that's also like, if they're going over these hurdles and they're doing their information correctly, it might be, I don't know, cumbersome for them, but for us, it's like we're gonna get someone who's truly qualified at the end of that little process, right, to get that lead. So I think those 2 things are highly important. It's the checkpoints and then those qualifier questions.
Yeah. And there's always going to be things that come up where like they need to schedule or reschedule or anything like that. So we have things in place for that, for when those happen. But it's helped us to stop wasting time on unqualified leads, which is the whole point for this podcast, which is how you can stop doing that. So like if we could save you, 5 hours a week, it's 20 hours a month. Like, think how much more you could grow your business if you're not wasting time talking to those people. And it means, and we had a call with one of our clients today, and his lead count was great, but some of them weren't qualified. So it's like we needed to put in more roadblocks so that he didn't sit down with and waste 25 minutes on a call. It's like, oh, this isn't the right person. Well, great. We want to refer you to the right person. He wants to help them, but he knows that, hey, my lead count may drop by half, but at least I'm not wasting time. And I think that's the biggest thing here is for you guys too, is like, sometimes it's okay to have lower numbers, and it's not just the lowest cost per lead and the amount of people you talk to. Sometimes it's about just having quality instead of quantity. So I think that's the biggest thing here is, if you're figuring out something online to make sure that people are qualified, have them go through a couple of those hurdles, because when they do that, each time that they do it, they're saying, okay, great, I'm committed to not wasting your time, which is your biggest asset at this point.
Yeah. And I mean, there's also, an element of always improving all these processes. And even if you think that you have the right questions, and even if you've tested them, maybe run them a couple of times, maybe you find out that after 20 people who have submitted, there's this one question that people respond with, I don't know, or NA, or it's just a very short and vague answer, right? So just be paying attention to the type of answers that they're giving you, right, based on your questions. You might have to just maybe tweak the way that you're asking the question, or splitting that question into two different things to get the information. But I think the most important thing about those questions and improving those questions, it's for your ideal client or customer to sit down and fill them out how you want them to be filled out, right?
Give you the answers that you want.
And then same with something like the calendar, for example, and I'm just talking about just little improvements that I think we've done. It's, setting up your calendar where it connects automatically with your current calendar, making sure that maybe you're leaving time for lunch breaks in there, making sure that you're leaving lead time, right? So they can't schedule the same day. Yeah, buffers and lead times, because we had that in the beginning where, they were maybe scheduling the same day, or within 8 hours. And we thought we had it fixed because we set out 8 hours, but then they scheduled the day before at 8 a.m. And it was like, oh gosh, that is 8 hours, but that doesn't work for us, right?
Yeah.
So obviously things like that, tweaks, little things like that, something that you always have to be improving with all these processes. But even beyond that, like you were saying, adding additional roadblocks, right? So just adding something completely new to their process to make it just a little bit harder, so that they're actually super qualified at that point.
And I think this helps you, this may be something we talk about for another podcast, but this also helps you to, now that you would have a system and process in place, it allows you to scale even more, because you're able to tell people this is the exact way to do it. And then you don't have to be the one that has those conversations. Somebody else could start selling for you. And it's very easy because they're just reading off of a script, or they're reading off of what you've done before. And they're only sitting down with qualified people. So now it's a matter of oh, great, you gave them the best person to set them up for success, and they're going to close deals. And that saves up even more of your time. So are we saying that this is going to, completely eliminate all of your wasted time? No. But can we cut it by 90%? Yes. And there is a process for doing that. So, and we actually did a free training on this. So it's how to attract, qualify, and convert more leads in your business. It's a free 38-minute training. If you're watching or you're listening on the podcast or watching on YouTube, it will be in the show notes or the description. Make sure that you go down there and click the link, check out the training. It's our 3-part proven system, so that you only sit down with qualified leads and you stop wasting time on that. So let us know how you like that, how you enjoy it.
All right, so if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to check that link below that Aaron was telling you about. But more importantly, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe and hit that like button. I would say, I think 99% of our watchers haven't subscribed to our channel. It would make our day if you subscribe and you check out all of our other videos. We have tons and tons of content that we put out. So check that out. And if you're listening on our podcast, make sure that you also subscribe, because we're always putting out some great quality content and some pretty cool interviews. We actually interview some business owners and get into their business, how they run their businesses. So that's always very interesting to look at. So subscribe.
The Marketing Natives Podcast is a production of Bit Branding.